Senator Milne.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Arctic ice and the Saudi Arabian oil fields seem a long way from Australia and Prime Minister Rudd's 2008 budget. But they should be at the forefront of our minds as we consider what a real leader, a leader contemplating the state of the world and the well-being of all people, would have delivered for our nation in his first budget. Leadership means having the courage and imagination to face up to the challenges of the time and to formulate a vision worthy of the people, their future and the situation in which they find themselves. It means presenting that vision in such a compelling way that people are inspired to be part of it. Faced with the fear and crises of the Cold War and the space race, President Kennedy captured the imagination of his country when he announced that America would put a man on the moon within the decade. He could not have known if the moon mission would be successful in a decade or how much it would cost, but he united Americans around a goal that fired their imagination, and he succeeded. The same can be said of Churchill when he exhorted Britons with those famous words, "We will fight them on the beaches," during the Second World War. The cost of not winning, the loss of freedom and a way of life, made losing unthinkable in both cases, and the people lifted. The summer Arctic ice melt and the depleting oil reserves are representative of the social and economic catastrophe that we now face from global warming and peak oil, every bit as compelling as the challenge faced by Churchill and Kennedy. The evidence is now clear that slow and steady action is a recipe for ongoing disaster. We are already experiencing dangerous climate change and may have passed peak oil. If we are to avoid catastrophe, we must not only reduce emissions but halve them by 2020 and cut them to net zero as soon as we can. We must build a new post-carbon economy and society, and we must do it now. Henry David Thoreau once wrote, "In the long run, men hit only what they aim at. Therefore, though they should fail immediately, they'd better aim at something high." Mr. President, if we try, perhaps we'll succeed and at worst fall short of the target. But if we don't try, we will certainly fail. A true leader would try. The 2008 budget demonstrates that we do not have a leader, a Prime Minister equal to the task. We have a manager for business as usual times when we've already gone beyond business as usual times. We have an accountant when we needed a fiscal visionary. This budget props up third world economic vulnerabilities by selling off our natural capital. The government's expenditures, taxes and subsidies undermine instead of unleash knowledge-based industries and intelligent green growth. This budget's plan for selling off natural assets does not represent a strategy for responsible financial positioning. Giving the community a few more dollars in tax relief to slightly reduce the significantly higher costs of petrol, food and energy, driven in large part by climate change and oil depletion, whilst living and working in the same ways, does not deal with the problem. Superficial promises to cut the excise simply delays the action that we need to take in oil-proofing the country to address the underlying causes of high food and fuel prices. The world as we know it is already permanently physically changed. It is shocking to know that by 2013, growing scientific evidence suggests there will be no Arctic summer ice, and the magnificent polar bear and numerous other species will be close to extinct in the wild. The risk of the thermohaline ocean conveyor slowing or stopping is heightened. The age of cheap, easily accessible oil is over, not only because we're running out, but also because we cannot afford to keep on using it if we are to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. There is no going back. But how we go forward will determine whether we experience a future that delivers positive benefits for people and communities, or one that delivers poverty, scarcity and conflict. Prime Minister Rudd gave Australians the impression that he understood the urgency and magnitude of climate change when he acknowledged that it is the greatest moral and ethical imperative of our time. Addressing climate change was a key element of his election appeal. But now it is clear that the Rudd government is just as negligent as the Howard government. Global warming is not just another budget item. Oil costs are not just a figure in the current account deficit. It's a figure growing to $25 billion by 2015 and beyond. Global warming and oil depletion represent the biggest challenges that we will face in our lifetime, but they also represent the greatest opportunities to make our lives not only different but better. What is required is total transformation of our way of life and the economy that underpins it. As UN Secretary-General Mr Ban Ki-moon said prior to the Bali United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change conference, said, "We have experienced several great economic transformations: the Industrial Revolution, the Technology Revolution, our modern era of globalisation. We are now on the threshold of another, the age of green economies." He then went on to call on nations to fight global warming and promote that transformation.